This is Michael Hess. Michael began a piece, and I joined him in the co-creation of this thing that we call MICA. It's about a guy we know. And there we go.
MICA strained against the chains wrapped around his heart. He'd felt their weight before the boat had landed on that shore.
MICA was at a crossroads, an intersection, a bypass, a toll booth of the soul.
This mystery train of whys has been rode just like the horse rode and put away wet. And the road always comes to its end.
MICA was at the end of his road, a dead end, a spiritual quandary, a Faustian bargain point.
MICA didn't have to stay in the misery, but that proverbial part of self unrelentingly held on to the love of love.
MICA was a romantic. He felt that love would win the day.
Struggling with the rational and the emotional, he pitted the two foes together somewhere in the strings behind the mind and the heart.
He was foolish for thinking them separate in the first place. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, time. Oh, sweet healing time, pass these feelings on to the next lovers willing to unlock Pandora's box.
There will always be more and more and more and more lovers willing to take the plunge to leap into the lake.
And MICA's chain slipped just enough to know that freedom was imminent and tears were sure to follow. MICA woke up, the usual voice in his head. How in the hell can I put all this shit together to work in my favor?
Did MICA have to use so many cuss words?
Of course. He didn't have the answer. That would take a whole lot more denial and rationalizing in order to have a sense of control.
MICA was the captain of his ship, the pilot, the oarsman, carrying himself.
MICA was always wondering, waiting, wanting.
Who, what, how, when, why?
Damn this roller coaster. Up, down, all around. When is the ride over? When are all these runaway thoughts gonna pull into the station?
Next stop, depression, guilt, remorse, self-recrimination.
Well, what does it matter anyway? I'm stuck with being who I am today despite my own self.
The endless reflection pool of the self staring back from the deep within the deep within the deep.
As MICA moved through routine, the mirror caught his face just long enough to force him to see the reflection of his seeming self. That was okay.
That was okay.
He didn't mind his appearance today because today felt possible. He felt something different. Call it a glimpse of reality, call it a hint of faith, or maybe he just felt the love.
MICA was a romantic. Let us not forget.
MICA woke from a dream that wasn't his.
MICA was waking up.
This wasn't the first time that it occurred. He'd had their dreams before. They would come like thieves in the night, stealing his soul piece by piece in stealth. MICA wasn't that concerned, though. He had plenty of soul left to survive.
Lots of fuel for the fire, kindling and petroleum, kerosene.
He'd met up with lots of bad company. It wouldn't be the first time he'd wrangled with demons or
There
their
was
like
Beelzebub,
kind.
Abaxis, Decabria, Cassiopeia, Succubus.
MICA focused in on the voices, listening for the little lies, the false pretenses, the absurd, rational meanderings. Not fooled by the fools, he'd had enough of all that noise in his head. MICA found the off switch. He knew where it was all along, but where better to keep your enemies than occupying your own dreams? And what could be better than just turning them off, canceling the incessant noise?
MICA found peace in silence at long last. MICA found peace in silence at long last.
MICA rested in the Dharma, felt peace, blessed the grand nothingness of everything, rebuilt his soul with the light that follows darkness. But the universe would have none of that. It had found him on that winter's day, and he had begun to prepare himself. The truth had hunted him down well. MICA grabbed up an armload of wood and headed back to stoke the fire, start his day out, the very least, with pain.
We beseech the universe to bless Michael with blessed peace.
MICA woke to the winter's day, looking out his window to the frost, thick as thieves. In his heart he knew what had to be done. He had to face those demons like so many times before.
Pick up the sword, follow the flag, do the work, fight the fight, take the hill.
The last embers in the wood stove wouldn't get the coffee water to boil. So with the reluctance of a man well past his years, he headed outside for firewood. As MICA crossed the yard, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the fox behind the fence post. Pretending not to see it, MICA went to the woodpile. But MICA knew that wood didn't matter anymore, for the fox had shattered all the illusions. MICA knew.
And somewhere a light shone, and somewhere a scar was healed, and somewhere a lover called out.
MICA was cut to the quick. His soul laid bare, the tears streamed down his cheeks, the warm water melting the frost as they hit the ground. He turned back towards the fence, knowing the fox was gone, knowing the dream had come, and knowing that his time had come. MICA wanted to run. MICA wanted to hide behind those walls he had built to keep hell out, but the universe would have none of that. It had found him on that winter's day, and he began to prepare himself. The truth had hunted him down well. MICA grabbed up an armload of wood and headed back to stoke the fire and start his day out, at the very least, with pain.